Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is December 10th, 2024, and just 2 days ago I participated in my first marathon event, and I faced a lot of what I felt was almost some kind of negative view of this event in so many ways that made it really hard to truly celebrate, like everyone who was completing this event. So again, yeah, this video is about coming from a place of struggle, and I want to tell you some stories where I am 10 days away from my 48th birthday, and just prior to 2 years ago, I couldn't run more than if a tenth of a mile without really having a lot of trouble. And the trouble would manifest in so many different ways, and has continued to manifest in ways where, in private, there are people who will basically tell you that you shouldn't participate in a marathon if you can't run the entire time. And that might be useful and insightful for, a professional runner. But for these organized events where we get to do something like explore our own city, maybe for the first time ever, just to basically almost take ownership of what's around, so to speak, not in a righteous way, but just to say, this is my city. I grew up here. I should become familiar with it. I should be able to do things within an honorable range of activities. And I feel that participating in and completing a marathon in terms of distance, whether it's run or walked, that's an amazing act. It's an amazing act. And to be able to maintain that kind of focus and just look past all of the struggles and adversities that have been presenting themselves in the past, well, then that's where your progress really is made. And for me, my dream, if I could dream to complete something, it would be to, write an inspiring song that helped us to sing a new tune about, let's, celebrate these activities, but why not start issuing virtual badges instead of the medals, which, I'm happy to have participated in these events. I went from practicing in 5K events, and then basically I just tried to extend my long run, and that is where it yielded a lot of insight as far as what could happen to the human body after an amount of time, and then what would happen if some kind of a situation like this, out of the need for a situation, or to be capable in a situation like this, what if we had to do something like cover a great distance in as short a period of time as possible? Could we even do it? First of all, for a lot of people like myself, who started out at critical hypertension, it's just doing something like this on a day that would be warm might be considered a life-risking event. And I don't know if something just showed up on the camera. I saw something in my periphery when I was saying that. And sometimes I talk about synchronicities, and the people who really pay attention for the signs, they're hearing every word that I'm saying. They're not hearing just a portion of it and focusing on an abstract. The abstract is basically the detail, the minutia that's around us, that's basically happening. But what if it was vital to focus on one thing only, like the true word of peace? Well, at that point in time, then we would be able to understand that the cat down the road who's talking with you guys here is trying to say that the devastating effects of these one-time use scenarios makes me wonder if with all of our technology, if we can't just now opt for badges. Like what if whoever the presenter is for the marathons that persist, what if the badges were all virtual? Like we could either choose, like for an example in my smartwatch, the application bundled with the smartwatch does things like have challenges and events that you can participate in and earn virtual badges for. Well, now we don't need to produce any more medals. However, what if with all of those one-time use cups, and what if with all of those one-time use plastic bottles of water that we're using for these events, what if 100% of that went right back into producing the next year's medals somehow? You know, what if that was a huge fraction of what made up what got passed out in celebration? And then that way, even the medals themselves would be something that would be recyclable if we chose to continue to manufacture these types of trophies to begin with. You know, I say it like that because I'm aware that we are on a timeline simultaneously with, you know, trying to balance our budgets, but also within our ecosystems, where as I ran through the whole city and saw all the waterways filled with the pollutants, all I could think was, what if we had this many people turn out to pick up some of this rubbish, you know? And it was a marathon event where we weren't really racing to see who was the fastest to get there, but we could actually pick up the stuff that maybe like the day after the marathon or a few days. The sooner the better, though, as you've seen in some of my videos about the destructive effects of some of these pollutants after they've sat in the sun for a long period of time. But the sooner we pick up whatever we've caused, that's the responsibility of whoever is causing the trouble. And when we look at the identifiers, plastic bottles, as amazing as that concept proved itself while I was running this marathon, whether I walked part of it or ran, you know, part of it or whatever, I completed it within the time frame that was given. And I got to explore my own city, see that we need to make change, and then recognize that without actually talking to people across a complete spectrum, it doesn't matter whether my name is, you know, some familiar, I guess a person on a government panel, you know, like the elected leaders at any level. It doesn't matter if your name is this, that, or the other. People tend to pick a side, and they pick a side because that's judgment. And so for the people who are judging me for sharing my insight in this way, you don't understand who's going to pick up the family. You know, you don't know me. They don't know me. Someone on base yelled that to me. They said, "They don't know you, son. Who's going to pick up the boats?" It was a lot of fun. The energy that I got from the people that were there supporting and in favor of creating joy. I have a feeling that they would be able to consider that what I'm saying is true. Maybe we should have virtual badges, and then for the people applauding us along, in many cases, who live in right along the route, who were helping out, giving out bottles of this, that, or the other, and cheering us on, encouraging us. That was so beautiful, and it was something that I really couldn't say that I felt a whole lot. Did you hear that? I don't know where that came from. But that's whenever I'm on the right path, saying the right things, there are these things that come to distract us. And I just maintain composure and recognize that someone out there is hearing maybe for the first time what's going on. And it doesn't matter where you're at. If you speak the truth is the truth. And if you mean it without any kind of malicious intent, then you're able to maintain just a state of peace enough to continue in your direction, even for 26.4 miles or 0.2 miles, even for 26.2 miles. And I apologize for the quirkiness of sometimes getting the name, date, or number wrong, or even forgetting to tell you the rest of a portion of a story that was ongoing. But we all understand what this cat down the road is trying to suggest, and that's that maybe we don't need to sell more t-shirts to further promote an event. You know, maybe the items are sold as unique one-off items, but maybe more than that, maybe we just stop altogether for a while and think about just what we actually need to commemorate the ability to do something that shows us that we're of the condition to persist despite the obstacles. Would we not also want to be in favor of at least alleviating some of the unnatural obstacles, like that of climate anomalies, whether it's in the form of weather or the pollutants, which do lead to the climate anomaly? So it's kind of why I want to tune out. I mean, I feel like it doesn't matter if I was running on a panel of municipal board of administration of, you know, green initiatives throughout the world. The title almost doesn't matter unless people can believe in it. And for me, I had a whole lot of trouble believing in myself to begin with at all. But the funny thing is that as I see that there's no level that you could escalate the truth to where it would be handled more pleasantly, and so as you can see, these challenging aspects of having conversations just by looking at the comments in a public place like this, you can certainly also understand that the hazing of, wow, you're a really slow, you're not even a real runner attitude that some people seem to present. But again, the unpleasantness of some of the people didn't outweigh the overall absolute joyful support of the rest of the people, the rest of my city. And so I feel like my city treated me really well during this experience, and happy and sad to have been able to participate in the last ever rock and roll 5K and marathon. And these were fun experiences that proved worth their weight in knowledge, if nothing else. And in prior civilizations, I know that, we had endurance challenges. For those who are on this channel listening, thinking about past civilizations, however you want to take that into or out of context. But I'm sure that some of the trophies were not things that were like mass-produced, self-engraved things. The possessions probably were much more valuable based on that era where things were more in balance. So if you've been feeling out of balance, I can tell you that if you can focus on running at any distance or length, and then maybe making the progression to something like jump roping or body weight mastery, if and when you begin to challenge yourself with that, you'll notice too that the corresponding spiritual and every other level up thing that you would expect increases commensurately. Different levels, different devils. But as they present themselves, you'll find you reach deeper for love and acceptance. And acceptance generally is it underscores forgiveness. So some people are able to forgive, and some people will try to torment, and in so doing, they'll be forever tormented themselves. And that's basically how I feel about this experience and talking about it. Even on a supposed page that is and should be centered around celebration. I'd like to celebrate, and at the same time, as some persons have perceived, I can sometimes come from a place of struggle, and that's because I am basically, in many instances, struggling, only I'm not struggling to maintain my concentration enough to where I forget, hey, do you remember that honking noise that was going on? How did that even happen? And how did we understand as we continued the conversation that, yeah, okay, synchronicity, signs, what more do we want? How can we communicate if this is the only way we find ourselves anymore? So that's what I got kind of out of the experience. In person, doing these things was so rewarding because there were a lot of joyful participants who I got to experience time with. And in spite of that, I still unfortunately can't quite overlook the environmental circumstances that I think that we can be the front runners of change on, especially since we're changing to a brand new vendor this year with my city's marathon. So just a thought, if anyone cares about environmental aspects, then, and it makes sense what I've said to you, feel free to share this, because I am talking with you. This is an open dialogue. Although I will be very soon taking probably a break from this channel, but I'll have, probably in this video's description itself, I'll have a link to the other channel where we basically just kind of don't talk about any of this stuff anymore. We're just talking about sharp instruments, and that's about it. So hope this all made sense to whoever it applied to in this myriad of directions that basically explains the same exact topic from start to finish without hesitation. It's without remorse, and with full appreciation of the value of our words and how we can make them make a difference. That's basically what I'm hoping to achieve in my efforts along the way. And yeah, haters make you greater. So till next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff.